Hello everyone! Welcome to the first Creative Edge design tutorial where I showed the start to finish process of the design for my monthly article. In this month's video, I'll be showing you my basic horizontal garden sampler centerpiece, which, by the way, can be seen on my website at hitomigilliam.com/creativeedge. It all starts with creating a reusable structure like this one here that I use for this month's article. This allows you to design using short stem flowers cut straight from the garden. It also gives your centerpiece the ability to showcase exquisite seasonal selection of flowers. The best way to bring the outside in for a table decoration with the flowers lightly floating over your table. So the key ingredients for this project is, first you need a piece of board, 1x4 lumber, or it could be substituted with 1x6, water tube stone skewers that's been prepared, willow or dogwood whips, Middlino extenders that are already prepared, some glue dashes, vine wire, which are prepared also cut into longs and shorts. And then we have some tools that you'll require, which includes power drill and drill bit, a marker, a pair of chalky scissors, wire snips, titanium non-stick scissors, a sanding block. So first you want to prepare your board. I used for the original one a 1x4 board because it's nice and narrow to run down the center of a narrow banquet table. But you can go also with 1x6, which is also really good. In this case, I have a 1x6 right here, and I've got it sitting on top of a 1x4, so it's lifted because I'm going to be demonstrating how to drill into it, and I didn't want to drill into my work table here. So I thought I would choose this one. And what I do first is I take a marker, a felt pen, and I just go along and just mark just randomly on the board where I would want the hole. So you want to kind of cover the board from edge to edge so that you have some randomness in its placement. And after you do that, you're going to go and drill where the markers are. So you're going to go into it. You want to drill in 90 degrees. So you want to kind of, if you have a drill press, you could get it right. But what you want to do is just drill into the board. So you want to go wherever the marks are, right here. Make sure that the drill bit is the size that's perfect for the bamboo skewer. So you want to just go ahead and do that all the way across. I would just normally you take a sanding block and just sand the rough edges of the hole. And also you want to sand off the edges of the board itself so that it's nice and clean and it doesn't have the burrs on it from the from the wood. So I'm just going to test this out to see how this works. So these pieces of bamboo skewer will just go into these spots, these holes that's being created, drilled in. So this is kind of how it's going to set up, like this. So with the ones that's been prepared, I have 4 prepared right here just so that you can see how it works. I'm going to put this one right here, this one here, that one there, maybe this one here. I'm going to place it right here and maybe like so. So you're just going to kind of pretend that all of these skewers have tubes on it. Basically on the board like this length, like what you want is probably about 15 to 20 pieces. And then what you're going to do is take these are just the the willow whips, just short pieces, leftovers that I have. It could be branches from outside, what have you. And then you're gonna have your bind wire. And I said to prepare them into shorts and longs. And by that I mean, so you're gonna take a bundle like this, and these would be the long. These are the long pieces that'll wrap around this willow attached to the tubes. So you need the longer ones for that. And then wherever you're gonna just actually attach the bamboo skewer itself to the willow, you just need the short ones because it doesn't require as much to wrap around those two components. So you want the tall and the shorts like that. So what you're gonna do now is connect this together so that it's sturdy, so that it doesn't have this bounce. So I'm gonna take this and take the long bind wire, and I'm going to actually connect these together right here. So I'm gonna take this bind wire and I just realized that really what I should also do is to take half a tab of U-glue, and if you decide that this is where you want it to go, what I want to do is on the pointed end, add that half a tab of U-glue so that you can then put it right into that hole and it stays nice and snug. This is actually better than actually hot gluing it in because this way you can take it on and off as you need it, so that you can store the board and store these bamboo skewers when you're not using it if you want. So you can do it that way. But now what I'm going to do is make this so that it stays together. I'm going to take another one of these bind wire and connect this tube to the willow. And then in this case here, I'm just gonna use the little bit of the half dash of U-glue, because now you're putting just round stick to round stick with a bamboo here. I'm going to take just a half a tab of that U-glue and then the short length of bind wire and attach that, so that you're actually attaching and securing that these stand up nice and straight and that it doesn't sort of jiggle around. So with this, I'm going to add just one more bind wire here to complete that. And then I'm going to take another piece of willow and I'm going to go to the back side, and let's just connect this one. So what I'm showing here is that I'm not using water tube on every one of these sticks, and really you should have water tube on all of those. However, I don't have them all prepared for this little demo, so I'm just showing it to you this way, so that you can see how they line up and they stay together. And that so that they don't flop around. Because as you add water to the water tube, if they're not secured, what happens is with the weight of the flour and weight of the water on the water tube, it becomes very sketchy, moves around a lot. So this stops it from moving around individually. You're still going to get a little bit of play back and forth because of the fact that they're not all attached together, but this is what we're going to fix next. So next, after you get all of these secured across horizontally, you're going to take the Middlino extender and you're going to use those to kind of connect back and forth, weave it through. So I'm going to take the long piece of bind wire here and attach that particular tube to the Middlino extender. The Middlino extender is very, very malleable, and it attaches easily to the bamboo skewer or to the tubes with a bind wire. So you're going to select the length of the wire, the bind wire, the short or long, according to whether it's over the water tube or not. So there's that. And I'm going to go back in here because what I want to do is kind of bring it all together so that it stays in exactly the shape that I want this to be. So here I'm going to take just a short piece of bind wire to attach the Middlino extender to that willow. Also, right across here, I'm going to attach the 3 pieces, actually the bamboo skewer, the Middlino extender, and the willow together. I'm going to go back here and attach this. Maybe I'm going to go, maybe not quite so long on that side. I'm going to attach this to this end here and bring this back. So here I'm going to take this piece here. Wait a minute. Maybe attach this to that. These end, you can even sort of twist it around so it stays together. Let's bring this one down a little bit, like that. Okay, and then this one here, we'll bring it back. And this way we could attach from this side, and this helps connect and stabilize one side to the other, so that maybe this comes through like that, attaches to this one here, this bamboo skewer here. So this keeps it more or less sort of longitudinal. This one here, we could maybe squeeze that around like the other side. So you can see that this is starting to get much more solid. And it kind of keeps its shape together because of the crisscrossing lines of the Middlino extender. You can see how that works, like this. So this is sort of gives you a general idea of how it stays together and how they stand up, and they're nice and solid because they're attached. All of these are attached to either the willow or to the Middlino extender. So the construction that I demonstrated different parts of and how it comes together, it ends up something like this. So this basically has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 water tubes on the bamboo skewer. And then I think it has 2 pieces of Middlino extenders. I have them in 2 colors. One was sort of a little bit of a celadon, and the other one is a little bit more apple green. And then I also have very skinny wire Middlino extender as well to kind of act as sort of a transition between extenders and the vines that I'll be using, so that it has that sort of gradation of thickness. You know, one is clearly for support, and then the other one is for it to blend in to the design itself. And then on top of the willow that we had as a main support horizontally, I just simply added on and glued on, just with a glue gun, pieces of willow sticks, just little segments, like anywhere between 2-inch and 6-inch, and crisscrossed it. So it's not, it kind of hides the fact that we used the willow originally for support. It's just a way to segue it to the fact that it's part of the design components. So after that's done, and it's all being bind wired together, and all the ends of those bind wirings being clipped, now we're ready to design. So the first thing that you need to do is take the water bottle. These are great, these chemistry bottles. And I'm just gonna fill these water tubes nice and full so that it has lots of water for the flowers. You wanna always fill it. I think it's really a great idea for you to have one of these water bottles to use as a sort of topping of water on a daily basis, because different materials drinks differently. Some are very thirsty and drinks very fast. Some flowers are a little bit better. And so you'll know after you play with this concept multiple times the needs of these flowers.
So I'm here out in the garden. It's kind of a wild garden that's been sort of abandoned, and we sort of started to reclaim it a little bit. And so there's a lot of shrubs and bushes and trees that's been on the property that I've been able to enjoy very much to see them growing through the season. And so I wanted to today just go and cut some really cool things that are flushing right now. We have some beautiful lilac. They're almost to the end of it, some rhododendron. I have some kind of crazy honeysuckle, wild honeysuckle that's hanging from the tree that I'm going to get my son Colin to cut for me off the tree. It's just going to be some fun things. So let's get started.
So I went out in the garden and collected a whole bunch of really cool flowers that are flushing right now. The key flower that I desperately wanted to showcase it, because it's going to be gone very soon, are the lilac. The purple lilac is so beautiful, and also the rhododendrons are kind of almost finishing right now, so I wanted to make sure to capture that. We also have Protegas, which is hawthorn. That's just flushing right now. I just noticed it. It's a big tree in the backyard. And I noticed it. It's sort of at a distance, and it's really, really tall. So I had to have my son Colin go with the extended pole to be able to get those pieces. And then I also saw up in the tree, a little bit of orange flushing at the top of the tree. And I saw these beautiful wild honeysuckle that's kind of got that orange tone that I thought the sort of the combination, analogous combination of red violet to red to orange, I thought was really a cool combination. And of course, some greeneries and vines, etc., etc. So anyway, to start off, I went and actually cut Nepeta, which is this. This is just a ground cover, and it's kind of all over one part of our garden. So I wanted to use that because it ties in really actually very nicely with the color of the yarn covered extender, the kind of the gray-green. So I wanted to use that first to kind of get this started in the right direction color-wise. So I wanted to just thread that through so that it's cohesive to the color of the extenders. And the beauty of these extenders are such that you can actually design sort of under and over. And by that, I want to show you what I mean. Like right here. So by slipping the stem into the tube, but you just kind of sneak it underneath it so it brings it down. And you can see how beautiful the color of that foliage of the Nepeta repeats the color of the extender. So I really like that quite a bit. You don't need to do much more greenery than that because this is really a flower focused design. So the first flower that I'm going to use is going to be lilac, this purple lilac. So with this one, I'm going to cut it rather short and bring it in. Actually, maybe like that. Cut this side shoot so you can get two out of it. So maybe like this. And maybe sideways like that. So basically how you want to design with this is to go sort of side to side. It's a side to side horizontal. So you're just going to go and just randomly place it side to side. So you can see that the tubes are very small. So the stems don't have to be long. That's the beauty of this. That's why it's so perfect for designing out of the garden, because you so often really don't want to cut long stems off of some of the beautiful plants. It really is about showing off the blossoms. And this technique and this kind of style of design is perfect for that. So you can see how this goes. Look how pretty that is already. It's looking really showy already. And then I'm going to go and take my rhododendron. This rhododendron, I love it. It's kind of got a sort of a peachy watermelon sort of red to it. Looks really nice. Cut short. I actually prepare them a little bit in advance. By that I mean I've taken lots of the big foliage. Rhododendron has rather large foliage, so I took those off. And so that it doesn't block the tubes. That's really the reason why I decided to do that. So I'm popping it in here and there just to show that the colors interact with each other. Look how beautiful that looks on both sides. And then I'm going to go in, and these are actually Crataegus, which is hawthorn. And, you know, I didn't know exactly what it was as I saw it sort of peering through the trees. It's a very tall tree that's out there, and it's so tall that there's no way I can get it with just common pruner. It had to be with the use of extension pole kind of pruner. So we had to use that, but you can see how this works. Oops. How this works. So these ones are, some of it cut a little bit shorter. This one here I like because see how it swoops down. So this is actually the perfect piece to use so that it goes into a tube, and then we slip it down in here like that. And I can then attach it with a bind wire to this stick. So basically I got most of the main flowers in. The only thing is that I have that's so cute are these Lonicera, which is really the wild honeysuckle that I found way up in the trees that we cut down with extension pole. I really love them, and I really think that it ties in very beautifully with sort of the orangey tone that's on the inside of the rhododendron. So I'm going to do that next, but you know, maybe before I do that, I want to just put in a couple of token Helleborus. They're really kind of wimpy because they're just like overtaken right now in the garden by its green, and it's really not showing up that well. So there's not many of them, but I wanted to just, because they're sort of the last of what I have, so I thought I would just tuck it in a few spots first, because it ties in beautifully with the green and the purple that's on the inside. Also, another material that I found that's really cool is this is actually Pieris after it's finished blooming and it's actually seeding right now. I love the texture of this. I think it's so beautiful to have that because it's kind of not a heavy colored item, but it gives you so much texture. So I'm going to add that into the back side here, and I have another piece that I'll add to the other side. And what I'm going to do also is to use a little bit of bind wire so that it actually stays down a little bit, hangs down a little bit. So you can see that little bit of Pieris right there. And I kind of left a little hole here so I can put that little bit of wild honeysuckle in there as well. And I have another piece to use on this side because I think it needs a piece on this side as well to showcase the beauty of this particular find for me. It's a real pretty addition to Pieris in its beauty blooming, but it's also very beautiful at this stage as well. So now I'm going to go in, before I add the final touches of color with the honeysuckle, I'm going to take some of these vines. Now this is a sort of an unidentified vine for me, but they're just growing on the side of the house quite rampantly, and it's not showing any flower yet, so I don't know what it is. I've tried cutting it, holds up beautiful in water. Really, really, really great. So like I've had it cut for about 4 days already, and it's holding up just spectacularly. So I'm going to use this to kind of extend out on both ends. So it's something like this. What I love about this is it gives you transparency between the flower, kind of the cluster of flowering, and then the beautiful vine floating overhead. And then I'm going to go in and add in some of these beautiful Lonicera or honeysuckle. So I'm going to just flip it around so you can see how the effect of the honeysuckle, the orange, it's just so vibrant. The fact is it doesn't overtake because it's just little tiny spots, but it's like kind of spot of sunshine. It just adds so much to have that little bit of orange in there. Just spectacular. So just to give you an overview of what's been created, let's go in and have a look all the way around. So there's that on that side, and then here it is on the other side. Just think how few really flowers that from the garden that we actually use, because they're basically mostly all flower heads, aren't they? So it's very flower poor, meaning that it's not atrociously expensive. You didn't have to have a lot of blooms to be able to create this, but it's also the most beautiful sampling of what you have out there. Like as you display this and you sit at the table, you look at it and go, my goodness, those are beautiful. And you see the textures, the difference between the color palettes and how one blends into the other. So whatever you might have flowering in the garden, you just need short snippets to create this table arrangement. This way you can truly enjoy all the bounties of the garden without gathering a huge armload of flowers. Also, you can enjoy all the varieties and play with color and texture palettes. It's so much fun. I hope you enjoy the multitude of combinations by reusing this structure over and over again. We'd love to see your versions of this design. I'm looking down this direction, down the table. It's gonna make a fantastic banquet table arrangement. To read this month's full article, please visit hitomigilliam.com/creativeedge. You'll be able to see the finished designs and read the accompanying article for more insight and for the list of plant material and supplies used to create each of the 3 pieces. New to Creative Edge, I wanted to offer something physical. So going on forward, I'll be offering a limited number of 8x10 prints from each month's article. printed on a high-quality 320 GSM photo paper. Each print will be hand-numbered and signed. And if you would like to support my channel, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for future content.